Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Buried is the map that we are checking out here today at the Zombies retrospective. I don't know if that's the correct I don't know if that's the correct terminology, because I feel like I'm going back and I'm watching some of the old retrospectives that I missed whenever I wasn't even running the second channel. But today we're checking out Buried, one of my absolute favorite, and honestly, if you disagree with this, you're wrong. One of the biggest sleeper picks for an S tier map. There, I said it. Buried is a sleeper pick for an S tier map. Dude, think of the run that Treyarch had. Origins. Sorry, even before Origins, of course. Buried. Origins, Shadows of Evil, Der Eisendrache. Oh my gosh. Like, bro. And then Mob of the Dead before that. Oh my gosh.
The third and final Black Ops 2 installment to the Transit storyline arc released July 2nd.
Banger too. I love this song.
While the community was feeling positive towards a new map after the success of Mob, there wasn't much to suggest that this Western-themed map would be a hit. By this point, everyone had realized the mess Transit was, and while Die Rise was certainly tolerated, we all, well, most of us know now how bad that map really is. In terms of an interesting story or strong gameplay, the Transit crew was batting 0 for 2 at this point. And so it's absolutely shocking to look back and see how successful Buried really was. It preceded 2 of the most bottom-tier maps ever produced by Treyarch, and then out of nowhere, just managed to knock it out of the park. And what's even more impressive is that Buried is essentially the only map post Black Ops 1 to be a huge success as a casual map. Every other great map after this would be extremely in-depth with serious tones, and because of this, I think Buried is truly special. To look back on it, it's shocking to see just how good a job they did with this map, and so today we'll be going back through the hot classic to figure out just what made it so good.
Can I ask everybody something? I'm gonna ask you right now. Why do people like the Transit crew? I know not everybody likes them, but everybody has nostalgia for the Transit crew. Can I ask why any literal human being has nostalgia for the Transit crew? The record, Transit, Die Rise, Buried. Buried's good. Buried's really, really good. As I said in the beginning, Buried is really, really good. Tog der Toten. Get me out, dude, this is one of the worst crews in Zombies. I literally like the celebrity cast. Almost every single celebrity cast from maybe Call of the Dead, I like them more than I like this crew. I would have preferred the celebrity cast in any map. That's all I'm saying.
So Zombies retrospective
Transit crew, not good.
And as a content creator, that is super frustrating. And so because of that, I've been looking for an alternative way to support this series and continue putting out higher quality content. And so I just want to take a moment to thank today's sponsor. It's a game that needs no introduction.
Don't say Raid Shadow Legends.
It's Raid Shadow. Let's get into it. So Buried actually excels in 2 ways, rather than how most great maps usually excel in one area with every other facet supporting the central
you can go subscribe
one. And so Buried is a bit of an anomaly.
I'm not gonna watch the ad.
The most obvious of the 2 is, of course, innovation and new features. Buried is one of the most innovative maps of all time, but only sort of. Buried isn't innovative in the sense that it plays with dimensions like Transit or Die Rise. It doesn't add a giant quest or afterlife like Mob. It doesn't change the core gameplay by removing gravity and oxygen like in Moon. There's no single addition that is truly groundbreaking, yet it's still often considered to be one of the most innovative maps of all time. And that's because Buried innovation comes through features. It doesn't add anything huge.
Buried as well set the precedent for tricks in Zombies. If you think about Buried, there's so many little tricks you can do with it, whether it be like with the traps, whether it be with flying with the paralyzer, different tricks to enhance your game. And they took that, Treyarch took that, and then they took it into Origins and they dialed it up to 11. Origins has so many tricks, it's incredible.
But instead, it jam-packed the map with tons of tiny little new things. And I think this is essentially the cornerstone feature of the map. Let's start with Leroy. He's a giant trapped in a cell, and to free him, you need to unlock the cage with a key and then feed him a bottle of booze.
Big
so in one
Arthur.
round, these two pieces are already brushing Die Rise's 3 total items on the map. And Leroy essentially opens everything else up. Leroy is used to access areas like Jug, the church, and mansion. There's even a secret function where if he breaks the fountain on the main side, the maze-sized fountain will act as a portal back to spawn. And that's just the tip of the iceberg with this big guy. Leroy has another feature called Candy, which has so many possibilities. Giving Arthur candy near the box
There
will have
it
him
is,
slam
Big
it down
Arthur.
in place so that you
Lore,
never get
chat,
teddy
lore.
bears. Candy next to a drop respins it with the chance to get a max ammo. If he's near a crawler, he will pick it up and keep it safe for as
Babysitting
long as
is
he
one of the
wants.
best features
He'll
in
fight
zombies
for you.
ever.
He'll even build you any buildable if you take him to a workbench. The man does it all. And consider this.
It's too strong,
Leroy
dude.
is basically Treyarch's second attempt at the hacker device from Moon, just implemented way more smoothly.
Whoa,
Instead of some
my
little tiny
brain,
box
he's
on a
right.
workbench that comes with the trade-off of oxygen itself, you
He's
get a
right,
friendly
dude.
companion with a real personality. Leroy is extremely practical to use, and he's so well integrated that I think a lot of people
That's
don't even realize
crazy.
how similar he is to the hacker. Having to open stuff up with him
Leroy
every
the
single
hacker.
game can get a little stale, but overall, I do love Leroy.
Part of
Buried
the map
adds a lot
progression.
more than that.
Buried doesn't have a ton of like doors and stuff like that to buy. The map progression is using Leroy. It's a really cool like spin on just opening up the map once you have enough points. It's a cool like way to integrate part of the map into progressing. You know
That,
what I mean?
however, you've got the Paralyzer, which is to the jet gun as Primus is mentally stable to Ultimus. That is the nerdiest joke I've ever made on
I didn't
this
even get
channel.
it. That was
so
too
the
fast
Paralyzer
for me.
freezes zombies in place, and oh wow, shocking new feature, doesn't actually break when it overheats. Now that is innovation. The Paralyzer also lets you fly, and while it's a
So
small
fun.
feature, I think it's yet another detail
so
that builds
fun.
towards a greater outcome. The map also has a time bomb. Placing it makes a checkpoint, essentially allowing you a redo if you
I will say though, people in like online lobbies are evil with this thing. It was the most random, not friendly item Treyarch has ever added, and most frustrating thing to play with people because they would throw the time bomb. 6 rounds later, what does this button do? You go back.
are to make a mistake and down. There's also the Remington
Oh,
new model
man.
army pistol, which while cool
so-
is mostly a reskin of the Python. And who could forget the
But it's
Ray
good.
Gun Mark II? I think it's easy to look at the Mark II as a general Black Ops 2 gun, but let's not forget it was a buried edition. This is one of my personal favorite weapons in all of zombies, and I really think it was a much needed upgrade to a weapon we already see starting to fall
Remove
behind
the
in
normal
weapon
ray
roster.
gun
My
from
only
the game,
complaint is
chat.
that I wish it
Nobody uses the normal ray gun. If you don't have PhD, don't put the ray gun in the game. I saw it in the trailer, Treyarch. You better have something for PhD in the game, or else I'm never picking it up. The entirety of the game. I'm never picking up the ray gun.
had a single fire
My
mode.
goodness, dude.
Ammo just tends to run out quick with that guy, but regardless, it's a great weapon. We've still got so much more though. The map saw PhD finally return in the form of a perma perk. While it's annoying that it wasn't in previous maps, it's a fun addition that allows players to use explosives. The map also has multiple ways to get free perks.
I didn't-
Players with a ballistic knife
I
can
liked
head to the
the
bar
idea
and
of
the bullseye on the
perma-perks, but I
dartboard, which
didn't
triggers
like
the
it.
piano to start playing. From there, you just need to head into the mansion, tip the ghost, and you get a free perk. Or for the lazy, literally just kill the witch every 5 rounds and you'll get one that way too. Speaking of perks, we've also got Vulture Aid. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and act like it isn't OP, but I do love Vulture Aid. We'll talk about Buried being easy later, but for now, I'll just say, I
dude.
think Vulture Aid was a really good idea that
I
just
love
got
easy
handled
maps.
poorly. The enhanced
love easy
vision,
maps.
extra
I'll be the
perks,
first
and
to say
ammo
it, dude.
is fantastic, but the green mist is a little ridiculous. Still though, I love it, and every time I play Buried, I get excited remembering that it's on the map. We've also got new buildables. The Subsurface Resonator and Head Chopper are 2 brand new OP additions
Literally only
that
built them for the
basically
Easter
serve
egg.
as ridiculously good defense style buildables. And I'm gonna give bonus points to the Subsurface
And going
Resonator
high
for
rounds, of
reusing
course.
the noise of the Scavenger. I just love that noise so much that I'm willing to look past the laziness.
Wow.
But you've also got chalk drawings. The game lets you choose where to put the Remington,
And you get points for
AN-94,
it.
PDW,
That's the best
SVU,
part, you
and
get points
more.
for it.
It's such a neat addition that
How much-
also is
how much does it
incentivized
give?
with 1,000 free points and is yet just
1,000, yeah.
another great
So good,
feature
dude.
of the map. So overall, Buried adds a lot of little stuff, and when you hear this all added together, you can really get a sense of just how full the map is. But hey, With all these features, can anyone think of a potential problem that the game might run into? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but surely so many crazy things in one map might be pretty hard to balance. Oh, wait, what's that? Buried is the easiest map of all time. Yeah, that adds up. Buried's mortal sin is that it's too easy in a problematic way. Now, as we've discussed in many retros, difficulty isn't necessarily bad. Kino is too easy for me personally, but I don't dock it points as challenge is a
Dog, why does dude, is everybody just a way better zombie? Like, I don't think I'm a bad zombies player, okay? Does Kino being easy, I guess I don't define if something takes me a long time, like if it takes me forever, Kino, if I'm running around on the stage and it takes me like 10 minutes to go through a round, you know what I mean? That's not, even though it's technically easy because it's not like you have threat of death, it takes a long time. So to me, that's hard. Maybe I just have a different definition and I'm too nitpicky with the words.
Objective feature. Buried loses points, however, because of the way it's easy. So if you want to set up in the Juggernaut camping spot with 4 perks and 3 pack-a-punch weapons, you're gonna have a pretty easy time. But hey, who doesn't like a good camp sesh, right? That's why people love Derice. Sadly, this is just the beginning. Add in the head chopper, subsurface resonator, or trample steam, and things become that much easier.
It's fun.
Play with 4 people and have everyone set them all down, well, now you literally don't have to shoot. Add in the fact that Voltrade makes you temporarily invincible, and this becomes a downright broken strategy. I also probably don't even need to remind you of the solo bank rooftop strat. You literally just camp in Voltrade smell with the paralyzer, and it's an easy round 100. But sadly, that's not.
I thought they patched it out. Can you still do this? I don't remember if you can still do this. Also, don't think I didn't see
Voltrade smell with the paralyzer, and it's an easy round 100.
There he is. I don't think. Does it still work? Maybe it still works, just a little bit worse. I know they patched it. I know when the game first came out, people were setting up like things on their controllers to automatically do stuff, and they were getting to round 100 without even having to be at their computer or be at their console.
But sadly, that's not even the worst part, and that's because Buried has a bank. Everything I just explained can be done on round 1.
Okay,
and this is the biggest single problem with Buried. I think because Transit and Die-Rise are such unenjoyable and broken maps, the bank makes them a little bit more tolerable. When things don't go your way because of a game flaw, like Pack-a-Punch not opening on Transit, you don't feel so bad about taking 30 grand and going wild on the box. But on Buried, it's another story. Because the map sets you up for success and is actually good.
I consider there to be 2 different styles to play the maps with banks on them. You either do a bank run, which is the equivalent of putting on Shopping Free and Perkaholic and Raindrops and Power Vacuum and all these super OP gobblegums. I equate that to doing a bank run. But if you don't, then it's like how the map was meant to be played. I almost think the bank is like an easy mode.
For the first time, we were able to clearly see what a problem the bank is. It takes away the sense of accomplishment for achieving a good setup legitimately, and is a constant temptation in the back of your mind when something doesn't go your way. There's a reason Jason didn't add them to Mob and Origins, and I think both maps would have really suffered otherwise.
Oh yeah.
I think it might even be safe to say that the bank is the most single game-breaking feature to ever be placed in Zombies, and it was only in Buried that we really saw how bad it was. But as previously mentioned, Buried offers a lot more than just features. Atmospherically, the map is really impressive. Think about how many unique places Buried has to offer. Weighing in at 18.5 Nocturne Totems, it's not a huge map, but I think it does a really good job of utilizing space to the best of its abilities. Think about all the cool areas here. I still don't even understand what spawn is supposed to be or how it's all still operating, but at least it's super cool. Actually, if anyone could explain spawn to me, that would be really awesome. But of course there's more. From here we can head down into the map itself.
I don't know the story.
One of the
I don't know the lore.
forgotten areas of Buried are the upper tunnels, which connect the quick revive area to both the saloon and the courthouse. Behind the main section of the map sits the mansion, a brief passing through area, which really has a dark and evil vibe to it. Behind the mansion lies the maze, and despite offering little in terms of its overall size, it really is a neat place on the map, especially for Pack-a-Punch. And of course, the main town area is
my only complaint, I think, about Buried, that if I could go back in time and change and just like talk to whoever directed Buried. I don't know who directed Buried. It wasn't Jason Blundell, but if I could talk to whoever directed Buried, The only thing I would change is the switch step at the very, very end. The switch step is not great. Not great.
Fantastic, full of all sorts of neat buildings with tons of character. The bar feels atmospheric and full of memories. The candy shop is colorful and exciting, and the general store just feels spot on for a general store. Every area here sits on its own while also working with the other places to make something greater than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
Buried is an awesome place to explore, and it's got some of the best soundtrack and ambient noises in all of Zombies. Black Ops 2 is also the only Treyarch Zombies game to have a legitimate super Easter egg ending, and as the finality, Buried gets a lot of points for this. Actually, the reason I haven't touched on this in previous videos is that despite being shared by Transit and Die Rise, the super Easter egg really belongs to Buried. Buried's Easter egg is so good that it makes doing the other horrible maps actually worth it.
I can't wait.
Easter egg essentially
I can't wait until we get the Transit Easter egg speedrun. We're gonna react to it. Eventually, we're gonna get to it. The Transit Easter egg speedrun is coming.
Maxis and Richtofen are working against each other to secure the ether through the help of the Victus crew. The steps are boring, however, and players are rewarded with literally nothing. Die Rise picks it up a bit with some better steps and full perks upon completion, but the problem here is that it does nothing to progress the storyline. And so because of this, the payoff of the arc is left entirely to Buried, where it fortunately does deliver. Despite Transit and Die Rise Easter eggs being a literal bag of Richard Nixons, the neat features of the Easter egg are that you get to pick your side. You can choose to follow Maxis or Richtofen. What's especially neat about this is that a lot of steps tend to mirror each other. For example, on Buried's Maxis side, you must use the subsurface resonator to destroy
2020 right there.
We
were doing Buried in 2020.
You'd actually be charging.
It's me.
The super Easter egg also has these nav card tables, which are needed to link each map and beacon
the nav cards were so
other.
annoying. The reason nav cards failed, and the reason nav cards were not good in my opinion, is because they were based on like the host connection, but it also changed. It was very like glitchy and didn't tell you what you needed to know until you went into the map. You know what I mean? Like it was very glitchy, and it was like, does the host have to do it? Does everyone have to do it? It should have been the idea that you like grab them in other maps and take them to other maps is cool, but I don't think it worked in practice, especially because you need more than one player for these Easter eggs, so it just made it super confusing. You know
Nav cards are located on other maps though, and so this really unites the three together and gives a huge satisfaction when all three beacons are lit. The Buried Easter egg itself also has some really cool steps, and I think it's got one of the best blends of both puzzles and action. But of them all, no step is more iconic than Sharpshooter. I mean, honestly, is there any step more notorious in all of Zombies? 4 locations around the map start showing targets, and all 4 players must get 100% accuracy on 20 plus targets or you fail. Not only does this demand skill, but talk about
that little cut right there, that took us about like 20 minutes to
teamwork and patience.
When we actually
it's a great final step in an overall fantastic
Buried in 2020, man.
Then, once completed, if all 4 players have linked their nav cards and beaten all 3 Easter eggs on the same side, a button becomes available in the corner.
There it is.
Pressing it completes the super Easter egg and gives you your ending. If Richtofen wins, he will take over Samuel's body and have Maxis erased from the universe. As a bonus, all players will have a permanent fire sale along with full perks and a variant of Mule Kick that gives the player 4 weapons. While not quite as cool, if Maxis is victorious, the game goes orange and Richtofen's soul gets put into a zombie doomed to die over and over. Killing the Richtofen zombie also gives you a free drop every time. And while both endings aren't as credible as Moon or Mob of the Dead, I would still put this above the Origins and Revelations ending, as they at least give closure. So Buried is a great conclusion to an otherwise
I didn't like the 50-50
maps,
ending.
and
I
I'm really
I don't
happy
like
that
it when
the
there's
team were
multiple
able to
endings.
at least
I like
have
one ending,
3
personally.
It was the last map led by Jimmy Zielinski, and it's nice to see him
Jimmy
end on a
Zielinski
high note.
directed it, of
While
course.
people do like to meme the guy, I still genuinely think that there was a method to his madness, and while he may not have been as consistent.
Look at those eyes. Look at those cold dead eyes.
As Blundell in his prime, you gotta give the guy some credit. Jimmy took risks, and he never stuck to the same formula. He was all about the chaotic zombies energy. Wonder weapons in the box, astronaut steals of random perks, walkways that don't go where you want them to, and buses which don't wait for you. While frustrating at times, this formula of chaos would come to be missed, and I think Black Ops 3 followed a line that was almost a little bit too linear. But because Black Ops 2 blends order and chaos from the two famous developmental philosophies, we get a nice mix of both. So overall, I think Buried serves as a great casual map for new fans to get into the deeper side of zombies. It's complex and there's depth to it, but it can also be really easy and simple if that's what you want to make it. It's got a fantastic overall vibe with tons of cool lore and really doesn't do a whole lot wrong. The only bad thing I have to say about Buried is that it's just way too easy. Even without—
But it can't be good for casuals and easy and not be easy. You wouldn't be saying it's a good casual map if it wasn't easy. You know what I mean?
The bank, I would probably—
Also, you don't have to play the campy way. I think Buried, I wouldn't say it's easy. Well, it does have an easy path, but only if you want to take it. If you want to do the Easter egg, the Buried Easter egg is not the easiest Easter egg in the entire world. You gotta put some effort in to get to do the Buried Easter egg.
But as it exists, it's just
even with the bank.
Much. This means that I can't take Buried seriously. But despite this, I am able to have a great time with it. Maybe it's not meant to be taken seriously. And while it may not be up to the level of Origins and Mob, it did a good job of sweeping up the bronze trophy for Black Ops 2. And it allowed the Transit series to be put to rest with at least a modicum of respect. And so despite this huge one flaw, I'm able to find and appreciate the greatness that lies within this map. It's the only time Zombies has ever managed to nail a big map while remaining casual, and I think that says a lot. As a lead developer, it was both Jimmy Zielinski's final map and his best. And so finally,
that's a good point.
After 8 maps, 1 F, 1 D, 2 Bs, and 4 As, it's time we give this man the—
I think it's S tier. I don't think it's double S. I think it's S tier. And I realize I probably know what he ranked this as. I think he ranks it double S tier. I think it's S though.
Credit he deserves. My final rating for Buried is a 9 out of 10.
Oh.
S tier.
Oh, he did put it S tier. Yeah, putting it on the same level as Durice, better than Call of the Dead, better. I find myself agreeing with Pat's rankings a lot more than other people. I think me and Pat have kind of the similar, like, he may have different ideas on like why a map is good and not good and everything like that. But I think overall, when it comes down to just pure rankings, I think me and Pat have very, very similar ideas. Like, while this is like, I have discrepancies here and there, it's overall, I really like where he ranks a lot of his maps. Such a good song. Oh my gosh. So sick, dude. Great video, Pat. As always, you guys know what to do. Go subscribe to Pat. Buried, the best casual zombies map. Hit that sub button for Pat. Thank you again to him for letting me react to his series. Next map he's doing, Garage Krovi, man. I'm excited to see what GK has in store.
No.
Mob of the Dead, eh? Haven't reacted to this one. Might as well throw it in the box for next time. We'll see you in the next video.